That is a city view of Yerevan, Armenia. Beautiful city view up here from the top of the cascade. There's some sort of monument here. I'm not exactly sure of the story, but got in super early in the morning at like 5 a.m., no sleep. So we were able to check in early, slept for most of the morning, and I've just started exploring the city kind of in the late afternoon. So we'll explore a little bit more tonight, and then tomorrow we'll go see the countryside and the nature and see what Armenia has to offer. Super exciting. There's not too much information online as far as the top things to do, kind of conflicting opinions. So I'm really glad to see it for myself and see what's interesting here in Armenia. Early the next morning, 9 a.m., we're going to catch the bus, going up to see the arches, some temples, and some other things, all Armenia. Excited to check it out. Bus leaves in about 15 minutes, so it's gonna be good to check out some real Armenian history and culture before heading off to Tbilisi. Last night just recharged. But all in all, so far Armenia has been great, very clean cities. Everyone speaks English, which is I found to be really interesting. And otherwise, no complaints at all, really good food and everything else. But I'm excited to see the beautiful nature, history, and everything else that Armenia has to offer. So we're going to check that out now, grab the bus, and see what's out there on the Armenian countryside. First stop of the day. Came out here, beautiful in the mountains, checking out this castle. You can see the entrance of it here, but I'll climb up right now to get a better view. But off in the distance we see Grand Ararat, the humongous mountain, a huge symbol of Armenia, even though the base of the mountain's actually in Turkey, but it's humongous. You can see it from pretty much anywhere in the city, and especially more now that we're out in the countryside. Obviously, as I mentioned, the mountain itself is in Turkey, but the view from here is so amazing, and I'm not sure the history if it used to be in Armenia, but so many different things around the city, around the countryside, are themed and listed as Ararat this, Ararat that. So that's very cool. It's a little bit cloudy today. Not much visibility, but I'll try to get a better view of this mountain and show you guys. From the view up here, you can see Grand Ararat super well, and next to it, the smaller little Ararat, but by no means small, almost 13,000 feet. But it's very beautiful, totally flat landscape, and then massive, massive mountains coming up in the distance. But here we are, arriving at this castle. We'll go check it out. I'm not exactly sure any story of it. There's a couple plaques out here, but they're all in Armenian, which is a language I have no idea how to read. So let's see what we got. See up here, it appears to be a Christian church. And very, very old looking buildings that appear to still be in use, which is quite cool. Some plaques. A lot of writing on the side of the building. All carved in up the whole scape. Before I go saying castle, this is actually though Christian monastery. I believe it's still in use, but very popular destination it seems. There's a lot of people here, multiple churches or places of worship throughout the complex, and it is surrounded by a wall, kind of like what you'd see at an old castle. I'm not exactly sure when it was built, but one thing is for certain is that the views here are absolutely stunning. Mountains on all sides, beautiful temperature, even right now in November. But yeah, quite wonderful. There's a hill next door we'll walk up to, with hopefully an even better view. Here we still have these beautiful tablets, all lovely designs, crosses. I'm not exactly sure what any of them say, but this one's listed from 2020, so relatively new compared to, or very new compared to the rest of this complex, but it is still very grand and quite beautiful. Very dry climate, very Middle Eastern looking. All these buildings, short, one level, cool and dry, a lot of covered space. Rocky. As you can see, the little town down here. I'm not sure we'll be headed there, but all steel top buildings. Yeah, that's what we got here. I think we're only 4 miles from the Iranian border, so closest that I've ever been to there, but quite a beautiful landscape. We're at the market at the bottom. This place is called Khor, Virap. Very famous monastery here. It was probably a little foolish for me to not know that before, but on the bus we took in, no one else speaks English, so it was hard to get more details, especially with spotty cell service, to do my own research, which I probably should have before, but here we are. I'll do a little better next time figuring out where we are.
There, the car, yeah. Like in Saudi Arabia.
Quick pit stop on the drive, but you really can't miss these views. It's all desert behind us, but then you get a little closer and it's beautiful mountains and blue lakes, which is quite incredible. Absolutely beautiful landscapes with the water here in the countryside of Armenia. Going through the villages here, something else. I don't know if I'd call it Eastern European like, but kind of its own thing. Not like anything I've seen before, but granted, it's also my first time in the region. But really beautiful nature, super sunny, kind of a dry climate, but you get that nice breezes coming off the lakes. Walking in now to the fortress of Garni. This fortress here, probably one of the most famous historical destinations in Armenia, built almost 2,000 years ago. I guess it's debated when the first mentions of it were. Some say in the 2nd century, some say in the 4th or 5th, but regardless, super old historical military fortress used to guard these valleys and mountains from invaders or whoever else. But now, probably Armenia's most popular tourist destination, historical site. I believe it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And I saw there was a plaque by the door that it got an award in 2011 for being so well maintained. So we're excited to see that, as it's not every day you get to see something like this. But as we turn the corner here, we get a better view coming in. Beautiful, beautiful landscape behind. There's the temple here in the middle. I'll show what it said on the plaque. That will explain it a lot better than I can. But hopefully there's another one up here that we can read and see what it's all about. You see there's a cross up there on the top of that mountain. Armenia is a very, very Christian nation. But yeah, let's read a little bit more and see all about what we have here at the Garni Fortress, temple, whatever it may be. So, to my knowledge, the whole area is the fortress, and this happens to be the church of Garni located within that fell due to an earthquake, but was eventually rebuilt in the 17th century at some time. But here it is. We'll go and explore inside in a moment. And here next to it is probably another area, part of the church or something else that fell down and has not been restored. So there you have that. This is the royal structures of Garni. That is now in ruins. Another stop now along the journey. The sun's been super bright, so I had to ditch my coat, but I forgot my sunglasses on the bus, so we'll have to get those later. But you gotta see this view. Absolutely beautiful. Waterfalls coming through, cliffs through the valley. Some old rundown Armenian houses here, but other than that, just incredible. A woman here selling some things, but quite lovely to walk through and experience. Incredible stone faces here, so you can just see. There's horseback riding down the mountain. We might have to try out, but probably not. I'm unsure how long this path goes on, but we'll keep walking and see what else is down here in this valley in rural Armenia. New fear here, kind of unlocked. Really, really steep cliffs. Very jagged rocks. Negative thoughts coming in if one of those fell on me, but there's a lot of people and it seems pretty safe, so I'm not too worried. But we're getting down here deep into this valley, and yeah, quite beautiful. Paved roads, but just super high on every side. And the valley opening up that way, back to the road we came from. Deeper down this valley, the cliff faces just get more and more steep with these vertical rocks. Kind of similar to what you see more up north and maybe Iceland, or at least that's where I've seen similar ones. I'm not sure where else, but quite incredible with these kind of caves coming through. Just pulled off here, another monastery or castle. Beautiful drive coming in, kind of towards sunset now, so really bright if you can't tell. But on the way we stopped for some late lunch. A little on the pricey side, but usually when you get a bus driver, that's kind of how these things work. You end up going to their buddy's restaurant to you know, cutting each other deals or whatever, but definitely all worth the view in this beautiful valley with this monastery above that we're gonna go explore. Walking through here, this is the monastery of Geghard. We see some monks or people working here. Very beautiful area, old stone walls. Another church similar to before. You see behind me. We'll do a lap and go explore inside there in a second. But here's what it looks like. More of these tablets. These ones look quite a bit older than what we saw before. Wow, very tall. Beautiful. I'm not exactly sure what year this was built, but we'll find out. Come back here into this back room. This must be where they hold mass. A lot more seating. This back room, very dark. Like a river running through. going back up now. Kind of a split level above the church, but still part of the monastery. A lot more beautiful tablets. These ones still looking a lot older, and I've noticed a lot of these going in through the whole building, but little cells, maybe places to pray. Great carvings of crosses and everything else. Take the corner leading to these tunnels. Almost stripped. Oh, it's very, very dark. Wow. This is like something out of a Indiana Jones movie. Very, very beautiful. All these old carvings on the walls. Probably 1,500 years old, I had to guess. Back in the early days of Christianity. Well, hold on here, leading to a second. That whole it was quite dark on the video. I'm not sure if it showed up, but that hole in the bottom corner led to the ceiling of the first church we went into, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure if that was carved later or original, maybe original as far as drainage system to drain out water or any other rain that comes down these massive mountains in every direction. Construction going on, but a very peaceful, beautiful monastery, which appears to still be in use, which is quite amazing as well. So I got some more answers. The monastery was being built in the early 1200s, over 800 years ago, and for the years soon after, it was continued built upon, and then obviously still used for hundreds and hundreds of years, including still up to today. And in 2000, it was included on the list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So, like several other places in Armenia, it gets that distinction as well. One last look around before we hit the road and go on to our last stop of the day. Before leaving, I wasn't sure how long the trip back to Yerevan will be, so I needed to use the bathroom in the Soviet squatty potty. So that's always an experience, but here is this cool bridge I saw as well. Crazy arch on it, I guess. But now officially going back to the van to our last stop before Yerevan. Last stop of the day before heading back to Yerevan, and just one final view over the Armenian countryside. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Far in the distance, you can see the smaller mountain, and and the big one. It's just incredible. All in all, you definitely come to Armenia for the countryside. Well, Yerevan's a great city, super clean, super friendly people, amazing food. The countryside's something else. Beautiful nature, cliffs, mountains, rivers, everything. Highly, highly recommend for anyone wanting to visit. It's well worth it. Obviously a little more difficult to get to, but once you're here, an absolutely beautiful country.